Here on a Monday morning with Coach Eric Mangini. Hope you all enjoyed a little downtime this weekend, unlike our guy Nick here, who spent literally his entire weekend picking all 256 games of the upcoming 2020 NFL season. It's not work if you love what you do, buddy. Today we're going to focus on your NFC standings, Nick Wright. So why don't you take us through it?
Yeah, let's show it to America. A few things I'm sure are going to jump out at people. Most notably, the Chicago Bears being at the top of the standings, 12-4. Listen, everyone thinks Chicago's going to stink. The Bears won 12 games 2 years ago. They were 8-8 last year, despite Mitch Trubisky being their quarterback, despite having awful turnover luck. Only 4 teams had fewer interceptions, meaning the defense, meaning had fewer interceptions than the Bears. And they get Akeem Hicks and Danny Trevathan back. I think the Bears, with just league average quarterback play in Nick Foles, are going to be really, really good. Other things I'm sure will jump out to people. The Niners, not that much of a Super Bowl hangover. Yeah, they're not 13-3 again, but they're still back in the playoffs. And a team not in the playoffs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I gave them one more win, thanks to the addition of Tom Brady. The Bucs, the NFL did the Bucs some favors schedule-wise. Starting November 3rd, they don't play a single game. Every game they play is either in a dome in Tampa or in Carolina, so cold weather shouldn't kill them. I just wonder if a 43-year-old quarterback is going to kill them. So that's how I see the NFC shaking out. The big surprise, I'm sure, for some is the Bears at the top and the Giants only winning 2 games. But, Coach, that's how I see the 2020 NFC standings looking when we look back on it 9 months from now.
Yeah, look, it's interesting, Nick, and I think the Bears pick is probably the most interesting. Ideally, they will get improved quarterback play, but it's still not going to match what Aaron Rodgers does, and it's hard to get that for anybody in that division. I like the Vikings going young. They had 15 draft picks. I think they're going to be better than what you have listed here. And for the Bears, their strength has been defense, and you talked about their lack of turnovers last season. I don't know how you see that or why you're projecting that to be significantly better. You know, in these other divisions, when you look at the South, the Buccaneers to me are a little bit of an unknown in the sense that this could go great or this could be a disaster. And you've got 2 older guys that you're counting on, and one of the things you're counting on is that they both stay healthy. And Tom's obviously done that a lot better than Gronk, but how he's going to fit and how he's going to fit in this environment that's so different than any offseason that we've seen, it's a big unknown. I'd say the other surprise is Dallas over Philadelphia. I don't understand why you see that jump being that significant in the East.
Well, to answer that question, and then I'll kick it to Wilds, I think Dallas got markedly better at the head coach spot. And I also think that it sometimes things do run stale. And I think that happened with Jason Garrett. I also think Dallas had an extraordinary offseason, adding Gerald McCoy, drafting CeeDee Lamb, who I didn't think was going to be there. And whether Dak gets his contract done or not, to me, is almost irrelevant to the point of he's going to be playing. And so I like Dallas's chances to be one of the best teams in the conference. Wilds, I know you probably stopped listening after I had your beloved Bucs, your favorite team now, missing the playoffs.
Nick, I have supported you 100% since the first day we met. Seer of seers, sage of sages, prognosticator of all prognosticators, prophet of the NFL schedule. I support you on Super 6. I pulled my children's money out of their 529 and put it on your over-under win totals. So I'm a little bit confused by the Bucs, but I still support you. You have them at 8-8. What do you think happens here to my beloved Tom Brady? Why do you have them at 8-8?
Well, simply put, I think the middle of the schedule is going to kill him. You've got weeks 5 through 12 at Chicago, home for Green Bay, at Vegas. Spoiler for tomorrow, I think the Raiders are going to be good. You play New Orleans, obviously, once in the beginning of the year and then there. And then to Kansas City. I also think the late bye week for a 43-year-old quarterback not ideal.
How about that?
And so they get their bye in week 13. And so I just think they're a team that they're going to lose week 1. And then starting in week 5 through 12, I see a lot of losses piling up there, Kevin.
Okay. I have one other question about the Bears. You were talking about Cam maybe to the Bears, but now you got the Bears being really good. How do you think that balances out?
Well, maybe Cam ends up leading them to 12-4. I know they've got Nick Foles. We'll see how that goes, but I don't think, Jenna, the Bears need great quarterback play. The Bears won 12 games with Mitch Trubisky as their quarterback. In the NFC in the last 3 years, try to do this off the top of my head, Seahawks, Saints, Rams. I think those are the only 3 teams that have won more games in the last 2 seasons than the Bears. Everyone thinks the Bears stunk last year. They won 8 games. They lost Akeem Hicks. They lost Danny Trevathan. So I think the Bears are ripe for a comeback. To answer Coach's question, the turnover luck usually bounces back year over year. They had the most interceptions in football a year ago. They had the 28th most last year. If they just get average turnover luck, Jenna, I think they should be pretty good.
I actually like what you have in the NFC. I like that you got the Bears as the 1 seed. I like you got the Cowboys back in the playoffs. Brady not making the playoffs. So, Coach, I want to dive a little deeper. You agreed with Nick right off the bat. Yeah, I don't see the Bucs in the postseason. Can you give us a little bit more on why, and do you agree with Nick on that?
Well, no. I don't totally agree with Nick on that. This is one of the biggest projections that we have going, because how Tom is going to fit after all the time that he was in New England with one system, with one way of doing things, and now going to a totally different place, and whether or not they're going to adjust their system to what fits Tom the best, to me is a huge unknown. And I know everybody's excited about Gronk, and if Gronk produces the way that he historically has, then yeah, there's a lot of reasons to be, but the injury situation is real, and a year off may help your body recover to some degree, but you're also not in consistent football shape. It's a radically different set of physical demands that he's going to have to be under. So how this goes depends on how well they can all fuse together. And with the environment that we're in right now, there's really not great opportunities to fuse together. There's only so much chemistry and progress you can make on Zoom calls.
And Wilds, you brought up Cam, and we've talked a lot about where Cam's going to end up. Depending on whether or not the authorities in Florida are going to let Tom Brady leave the state, it might be a good idea for Cam, sign with the Bucs. He can be the road quarterback. I just don't know how that breaking and entering beef is going to end for Tom. So we have to let the legal system play out. But one thing that I find interesting that you guys didn't find interesting, or nobody acknowledged, if you will, I've got the Rams 5-11, and I don't think that made anyone bat an eye. The Rams high-flying 13-3, genius Sean McVay, all of a sudden, you see him at the bottom of the standings, and I don't think it's that shocking. I don't think people look at that as some hot take. Like, wow. I think people look at it and say, well, they lost Cooks, they lost Gurley, they're dealing with Jared Goff, and they look at that division that has 3 teams, all of whom I think two of them in Seahawks and 49ers, a lot of people will pick to go to the Super Bowl, and the Cardinals, who I think will be some people's kind of sleeper pick this year, Coach. I mean, I don't know where you feel about the Rams heading into this year, but I don't think it is out of the mainstream to say they could finish last in that division, Coach.
Yeah, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for that to happen. And look, when you spend the way that they've spent it, it's like using a credit card. At some point, that bill comes due, and you've got to make cuts that can be very difficult, because you've got to eventually get back to even with the salary cap. And then they've also made a lot of trades that have hurt them in terms of future draft picks. And so now you can't really replenish through free agency. You can't replenish through the draft. You've got to cut talent because you've got to get you've used the credit card so much in the past. You've made some changes in the coaching staff, either because guys have gotten promoted or you decided a change was needed. So there's not that continuity as well. It's hard. It's hard to consistently be successful, and it's hard to consistently be successful if you are using the credit card and are trading away future talent for the ability to try to win right now.
The Rams were all in a few years ago.